I always tell people, don't do that. Because once you're moving, where are the kids going to go to school? Everything's going to be... Once you're moving, you might as well just give it all it's got. You might as well just go over to Puerto Rico, Panama, push the pedal to the metal. Once you're changing your life, just push it all the way it can go.
All right, so I want to try to break this down for kind of individual groups. And if someone's watching this and they're saying, okay, what Andrew is saying really makes sense. I get it. I want to start offshoring my life. Even though I might not want to move out of the United States, I just want to have that as an option. What's my downside to setting up a plan B? So what's the first thing they should do? Should they go to a country? This is what I suggest, and let me get your feedback on this. I always tell people, listen, just do some due diligence. Look at a country that you think you might like spending time, such as, let's say, Colombia. 3.5-hour flight from Miami, no problem. But go there for a couple weeks on your next vacation. See if you like it. And if you do like it, which I assume you will, then set up a bank account there. Just go through the process, get it done, and then come back to the United States and then discuss it more. And then maybe if it's something that you want to take the next step, consider buying some real estate there, maybe a small apartment, and then apply for your visa, your investor visa, and then kind of go through, and every step takes you closer to getting that second passport. And if you get it, then all of a sudden you got your dual citizenship, you got your plan B. So if it hits the fan in the US, you want to just get out and watch things from a distance, and you go down to Colombia, you already know you enjoy spending time there. That's kind of taking baby steps, but you're the pro. How do you suggest people do that? And then I want to kind of outline how different people can do it at different income brackets. Say you're making 250 plus, you're making 100, or you're making 50.
Well, let me start with just the general idea. I agree with going, and I think one of the great first steps people can do is they can open a bank account. Now, as someone who owns a property in Colombia, and I've been through the process in Colombia, it's often hard to get cash out of the ATM. I mean, I think if you bring a dime into that country, they've got a dog on you. So that's not the place you're going to go and get a bank account. They're very strict there. But could you go to Ecuador, for example, and get a bank account? Yeah, you can. And in fact, they pay a lot higher interest, and the official currency of Ecuador is the US dollar. So not a great diversification tool, but at least it's an easy step if you're an American to step into. And so I do think that first step is interesting, because here's what you're going to do. If you go to an Ecuador, an Armenia, a Georgia, something like that, where you can open a bank account, it's pretty much any nationality. They don't really need to deal with residents, as many countries now do. Let's say you put $100, $500, $1,000 in there. You're going to go home, and you're going to go and you're going to look 6 months later, and miraculously your money is still there. Maybe you take some out of the ATM, and you realize it's all pretty much the same. Now, okay, don't go and put your money in a Syrian bank and expect the best experience, but we're using reasonable precautions here. And I've had over 1,000 people, probably more even now, write to us and say, hey, I went to Georgia and opened a bank account. And I go and I talk to the government. I say, listen, do you know how many of these people, they started there and then they went out and then they're thinking about it. And then they came back the next time because they loved the wine, they loved the food, they loved how affordable it was. One comment people tell me about Yerevan and Tbilisi in those countries is, it's a lot better than I thought. And so they come back. And maybe the next time they buy an apartment. I've had people say, oh yeah, I bought an apartment for $200,000. Now, where I think I would change the strategy is, I would look at diversifying it. So Colombia, for example, might not be a bad place to live, and I might buy an apartment there. If I'm going to live in Colombia more than 6 months a year, it's tax city. So I'm going to make sure I have somewhere else to go for the rest of the year if I don't want to be sucked into their net. It takes a number of years to get their passport. It may not be the good only passport to have. It's a good plan B, though. What I would do is I would just probably be doing a couple of different things at once. I might go and set up a residence somewhere in a country where I didn't have to live there a lot of the year to later get a passport. And then make Colombia where I live, make somewhere else where I bank, make somewhere else where I've got the passport brewing. I might go out and try and get a passport through my ancestry. If I've got a parent, great-grandparent, or grandparent, great-grandparent that I can get immediately. I might make an investment if I'm wealthy enough. I did the St. Lucia passport program. You send them $100,000, they send you a passport a few months later. No muss, no fuss. And you think they're going to impose a bunch of taxes on their citizens and stop the flow of people coming and making investments in their country? Of course not. So I would try and divvy it up a little bit, but I think you're right that the first step is proving to yourself that it can be done and that your money's not going to be sucked into a black hole.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and just putting your big toe in the water and just kind of getting acclimated to it. And I can almost promise you that once you start going through the process, once you spend a little time there, you're like, wait a minute, this isn't like moving to a different country. It's basically like moving to a different state. It's like going from California to Texas or something like that.
Which I always tell people, don't do that, because once you're moving, where are the kids going to go to school? Everything's going to be. Once you're moving, you might as well just give it all it's got. You might as well just go over to Puerto Rico, Panama. Push the pedal to the metal. Once you're changing your life, just push it all the way it can go.
Yeah, that's it. I try to tell people that there's so many places in the world where the quality of life is just as good as the United States, if not a lot better. When you look at the cost of living, and it's just about getting out there and experiencing it yourself.
How can Nomad Capitalist help you? 4 ways. Number 1, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to make sure you get our new video every day. Number 2, get a copy of Nomad Capitalist, the book. You'll learn a lot of my personal experiences over a dozen years of studying this stuff, as well as exactly some of the strategies that you can use to build your Nomad Capitalist plan. Number 3, if you're not sure where to start, but you want to come and learn from my team and I, you want to come and mingle with like-minded people, learn more about our live conference, Nomad Capitalist Live. It's coming up soon. And number 4, if you want some help right now because you've got a burning issue, you need something solved, you want to lower your taxes, get a second passport, or build the Nomad Capitalist lifestyle of your dreams, go to nomadcapitalist.com and click on Become a Client.